Hey guys, and welcome to my August Plan With Me video. If you're new here, I do Plan With Me videos, productivity videos, and art videos. So if you're into that kind of thing, consider subscribing. And you can find me on Instagram. I usually post most of my spreads, even if I haven't done a video for them. So links to my Instagram are down below. I'm pretty active on there, and I'd love to follow you too if you're doing awesome bullet journal stuff. And supplies will be listed down below. I'll try to be specific about colors. I used a few colors this month that I was just really in love with. I'd say that my theme is kind of oceany. I'm going to Cape Cod in a couple weeks, and I was kind of inspired by that. Plus, I've seen some amazing Instagram and Pinterest ocean spreads, which just people are so good at this stuff. This color that I'm using right now, though, is really, I think, my favorite color. I'll link, I don't remember the number right now off the top of my head, but it's definitely linked down below. It's my Tombow dual brush pen, and whatever that kind of minty green, seafoam green color is, I'm in love with. So I use that quite a bit. And I'm still doing the smaller calendar for my month at a glance page. I've done a calendar that takes up the whole page, but I really like to try to focus on goals and what I want to get done this month. I don't have very many appointments that are on certain days. So I've made do with this much smaller, which is a 3x3 square for each day for the monthly calendar. And that seems to work out much better for me. And so I just use a much smaller, like a 0.1 pen when I'm writing my dates in there, which again are not very many. And you can see this spread starting to be filled out on my Instagram in case you want to see how that little calendar works. And it just gives me more room to do the goals, like I said. And this month I'm doing something different where I choose kind of 3 main goals, and then I have to give them actual, actionable kind of items below it. Last month I had some things like create art more freely, and that became really difficult to actually. Did I complete that goal? I think I made some art. Was it free? So I tried to give myself tangible goals that I could hit. Anyways. These little jellyfish, I'd seen people do some amazing jellyfish lately, and I was like, I'll give that a try. And I was worried because I've never drawn a jellyfish, but drawing out the little, I don't know what you call those, tendrils first in pencil. So then you just pick a few as you're going along with the pen and be like, these are my front ones. And then as you work towards the back, and then you just kind of draw them behind. So it was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And I added little white highlights on him and shading. Tried to make him, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of like a SpongeBob jellyfish, but more detailed. And they really weren't as bad as I thought. I thought that they were going to be the harder part, doing kind of detailed jellyfish, but in the end it was the wave pattern that I use on every single page that was pretty time consuming. You'll see that in a minute. I actually wish I had done more of these jellyfish throughout the spread and not just here. This is one of the, I try to every week I'm like, this is how I'm going to do my spreads. I'll do it with watercolor. I'll do it with little drawings. I don't use pencil, and I'll just freeform it. And this week I did completely different, and I used pencil, no watercolor. I guess I have to, as soon as I give myself kind of this is how I do things, I immediately change it. So now you can see me drawing in my wave pattern that I did, which I went kind of loose with when I did it in pencil. And then I didn't necessarily stick to the lines always when I was doing it in pen either. And then I colored it in with 5 different colors. And on 2 of them, you can see I'm kind of blending this seafoam green and that bright blue together to kind of make it, I don't know. The new thing is blending too. I've been trying to get that better at that as well. So that's kind of, I think, one of the reasons I did this very colored in wave thing. And then I did kind of a purpley color and a darker blue blended together. And then the last one I do kind of a bright blue with silver over it, just to be kind of different. But these ended up being pretty time consuming, and you'll see me coloring left to right here. Eventually I start to just turn the whole book sideways, and that's coloring towards me was much faster and easier, and I stayed within the lines better. So that's that bright blue color, and then I go over that with silver and try to draw in like little bubblies and little accents to give it some dimension, I guess. I'm not sure why I like the wave thing so much. I usually do a dry run of some doodles and things that I want to add, color swatches, and a junky notebook. And I did this wave thing, and I was like, that's it. That's my theme. And I don't like it as much when I see it in the video, but now that I'm seeing it in person more and like opening up the page and filling in for next week and for August and continuing my stuff, I actually really like it. And here's me trying to do some blending poorly on that jellyfish. The jellyfish still looks kind of crappy blended and colored in my journal, but I do like the top one, and I really kind of keep coloring in the headers with the same two colors, which is that sea foamy green and a kind of brighter sea green, sea blue, maybe. Again, they're listed below. So I've been trying to, usually I do a spread of the month at a glance and my main goals, and then I do a spread of tracking or whatever it is that I'm working on tracking it. The last few months I've been doing a kind of in-depth budget page, and it's like a 2-page spread, and it's kind of boring to see, and you can see that in my last month's video for July. I feel like I'm doing better with my budget, and so I wanted to devote it to a couple other things that I'm working on this month, and this is my fitness tracker, and it's kind of a fitness mood tracker. So for one, it's got my each week, and I'm considering that August has 5 weeks because there's a couple weeks that have more days of August. So to me, August has 5 weeks instead of the typical 4. And so you'll see the week 2, week 3, week 4, that's of the fitness plan that I'm on, which is Strong Curves. You can find out about that. It's a book. So I'm doing that weightlifting thing. And then my workouts each week is you do A, B, A, C. And then I have like a bonus thing to do, like some cardio or something. And then I put my moods down below. So I wanted to track how, not only whether I did it, so it'll be filled in and I know that I did that particular thing, but how did it make me feel? I'm trying to focus on how taking care of my body makes me feel. So most of the time it makes me feel a lot better. I'll get there and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I don't think I want to do this. And by the time I leave, it's boosted my mood. So I wanted to really focus on not that I'm doing these workouts, but how they make me feel. So that's that tracker. And the Instagram engagement tracker, which, hold on, I kind of stole this from somebody. Sorry, I had to go find her name. I had to pause it really quickly because I feel like I need to owe her the credit on this tracker. So her name is Plantful, and she does really cool spreads on Instagram, and I believe she has a YouTube channel, which both will be linked down below. Hers was a little bit more in depth, and you can download her printable tracker on her website. And again, all three of those things I guess I will link down below. I changed her a little bit because there's a few things that like I don't need to keep track of. Like I think she has a tracker for responding to comments and DMs. I don't have that many followers, so that's something really easy, and I do it every day. Every time I get a comment, pretty much within 15 minutes I respond to it, or 30 minutes or whatever. So that one's not something I need to track, but just going out and finding new people to interact with, and it just pushes you a little bit more to engage with the community, which I think is helpful. So I have one for individual trackers for like new posts and engaging with people, mutuals, engaging new accounts and following those, and engaging with hashtags. And then I have my first of the month numbers, and then the last of the month to see how that works for me. And I'm excited about it. I've been using it a little bit for the last half a month, and it's working well for me. She has a ton of followers on Instagram, so I feel like she knows what she's talking about a little bit, and so that's why I wanted to try this. And I filled in the top with colors, my fonts up top. And And now you can see I'm starting to learn that I should turn the book sideways as I'm drawing and pull the lines towards me, which makes sense. It makes them smoother. So I'm just doing that wave pattern again here. And like I said, this was a little time consuming, but I do in the end like how it came out. I do like my whole August spread quite a bit. And I mixed up the coloring, like which lines were colored which, just to kind of keep it different. So each page is a little bit different. And now I'm thinking about it, I've never actually done like a mood tracker with certain colors for certain moods. So now I'm realizing that I'm gonna have to carry around these pens, like these certain 4 colors. And I don't know how that'll go. Hopefully it works out all right. I better mark them. I probably should write down the actual numbers because there's a lot of blues and many of them look the same. Anyways, so here's my first weekly spread for the month of August. And I usually spread out. I usually use 4 pages total for a weekly spread. So that I've got 3 or 4 days on one 2-page spread and then the rest on the other. And I just kind of do this faux brush lettering throughout, and I penciled underneath. I'm not the best brush letterer, and so penciling underneath really kind of helped me do better with this, and I might do that in the future. And then I tucked a little mini calendar up top because I like keeping track of how many weeks are in the month and which one I'm at and how much, it kind of gives me a quick glance how much more of the month I have left. And I usually do a little spending log to kind of keep me honest, and a kind of overall goals for the week as well. And then I gave them each a little number, circle, bubbles. I was trying to kind of go with a bubbly theme and still doing that ocean stuff. And then I'm going back and adding the little, I don't know what you'd call those when you're just kind of widening the downstrokes. I don't know. And I've never done this where I've done one page, like one day that goes across, like where Wednesday is, where it goes across the fold. I wanted to make it look more organic, so hopefully that works out all right, and I can work with that with my actual to-dos. And I usually journal underneath for the day too, just a little bit about what happened. So I did a little bit of a wavy thing at the top where like mini calendar is, and then I'm highlighting this week, and then I'm using the silver pen to add little bubbles to that top wavy area. And then there's me adding in all the wave pattern below. Again, I drew all this stuff in pencil before I went through, and I haven't done that for spreads. Usually I'm just kind of like, I'll see what happens. But I had kind of a busy week, and it's taken me quite a while to get this video up. I did it last weekend, but it's been busy, and which is good. But so I tried doing it ahead of time in pencil when I could. I got some downtime during lunch at work and things like that, trying to fit it in so that I could just go through the recording process a little faster. I'm not sure that I'll use pencil ahead of time for everything always, but it did help me out quite a bit this week. And though nothing helped me out with coloring these in, this took a while. And then going back and coloring in each of the days of the week to just make them stand out a little more and to make everything a little more colorful. As I'm doing this, usually I just go crazy with doodles and washi tapes and papers and stuff. This week's spread is actually a little thin, and so I kind of lay it all out and then I go back with some washi. Unfortunately, that didn't record. I guess I hit my limit on my SD card and I didn't notice it, and I looked up right at the end. So the last like 15 minutes of this didn't record. But you can see the full entire spread on my Instagram, where I added washi and I added a bunch of bubbles throughout. I think it looks better that way. So, but yeah, one of those things that's bad about this with recording you doing some drawing, if something happens to the camera, there's no undoing it. I can't go back and record, I can't erase it all from the paper. So it's kind of like, well, That's sad. I've done YouTube videos before where you kind of review games and you're just talking and having problems with the camera and you just kind of go back and say what you said before. But when you're drawing on paper, that's a much different thing. It's done. It's for real, which is actually why I've been enjoying this last year, doing a lot more ink on paper. One of the things that got me back into doing like traditional art stuff and watercolors and everything was actually doing the Inktober thing. I did that this last October, and it just made me remember what I like about a kid for being a kid and drawing, and just seeing what happens, and I don't know, working on something. For a long time I was doing digital art stuff, and while I enjoy it, I think I actually like regular ink on paper, watercolors, markers, that kind of stuff, much more. And I seem to be creating a lot more this year because of that. So this one was actually kind of more difficult. I thought it'd be fun and go up into this, like a big sploosh of water and go way up into the page. But because of where the crack is, and it was really hard to color in those spots. And just to make it look smooth and seamless as if there wasn't a crack there. This is probably why I usually don't draw along over the seam. I find it difficult to make it look good. So yeah, that's my thing. Thank you so much for watching, and you can see this full spread and the stuff that was missed on my Instagram.